Welcome back to the GLAC Studios oil painting tutorial. I am Gomati Sivasankaran. We are in class 4 of the Dhana Lakshmi painting. It's one of the 8 forms of Lakshmi avatars or Lakshmi images that are goddesses representing all the positive propensities of life. Dhana Lakshmi, Dhana refers to wealth. Yeah, and this particular Lakshmi is just the one that is representing abundance of wealth. And we are working on this painting for the last 3 hours or so, and right now we are in the class 4. Let's quickly go over what we have done in the past. The first ever layer that I talked about was a wash, or a layer 1, which was covered in the basics lessons and not a part of this lesson. And then we started our first class really planning on this painting. What exactly are we going to do with this? And the regular image of DhanaLakshmi that we could pick up from the internet. How do you create your own dimension with it? Yeah, that's exactly what we had seen, the planning. And then we moved on to execution stage in the second class, where the planning, whatever we did, started coming up in the canvas as such. But once we were done with that, we could see that things are falling into place, but then there wasn't any clarity. Moreover, we had grids also, isn't it? So we had to take the grids off and kind of build clarity and finesse to our planning and execution, which needed the help of colors. With the help of colors, we were able to, block or fill and define some boundaries even clearly. And that was our layer 2, isn't it? So we are done with that. This canvas is totally dry now, and I'm now ready to work on this image as layer 3. So we are going to kickstart layer 3. Layer 3 is going to be one step up when you compare it to the layer 2. What are we going to do? The focus on layer 3 is going to be on dark versus light. Where is the shade? Where is the shadow? And where is the light falling? Yeah. So that dark versus light. So you will see that we are using similar color tonalities to work with, but within each color color we are taking 2 variations, or minimum 2 to 3 variations of colors to kind of give it that angle. So that's exactly what we are going to do with the with this painting. So let's see how that goes around. Yeah. So the first thing we will get started with will be the face and the body color tone of the little girl. And for that, we will take the picture that we have as the reference to go ahead with the color selections. We have done a bit of color identification in the previous layer. I think it will be similar. So I will take vermilion and yellow ochre and primary yellow. That will be my base, and I will try to create that image and see how that goes. And also, one more thing I wanted to do was to rectify the way she looks and so on. So this is also going to be slight bit of corrections for me. In my case, I feel I need, of course, it was just a basic structure that I created. I wanted to correct a little bit. That's one thing. And also in layer 3, you will also see that I am starting to build a little bit into the detail. So the detailing will also start kicking in at this point. Yeah, kind of. You will get to see that as well. So the colors yellow ochre, vermilion and primary yellow are already in my palette already. So I'm going to take that, and I will take brush number 1 flat to work with, to begin with, and I will mix these colors to see how they go. So these 2 colors itself make a very good color range to work with. I will add a tiny bit of vermilion to this, not too much, because there is a trait of, pinkness or freshness there in the skin tone. Not too much, very light, so I see that. And this color tonality, when I look at it, I'm just checking where it goes. It needs to be lightened a bit, definitely. So to lighten this, I will use titanium white. I'm just looking if I have some in my palette already. It doesn't look like, so I'm going to take it. And all this, if you see, I'm not using much of the linseed oil. I'm just trying to use whatever is there or reuse whatever is there. We wouldn't need much of it, to be honest. Do this. Start mixing. So I'm just mixing it here and keeping that tonality here and seeing how it goes. Not close. I want at least 80% close until such time then I keep trying. Yeah, it isn't close. So okay, when I add titanium white, it helps in lightening up the color, but it also has the danger that that white really dulls the whole picture, or the color, dampens the color too much. So just be careful with the color if you're using titanium white like me. Okay, I am nearly there. But the lightest of the tonalities. So there are two ways that I do my dark versus light. The easy way is to mark which is dark and mark which is light and go ahead and do blend it, or to fill it with the lightest of the tonalities and start throwing in the dark into, so it blends already. So both are good methods for me. So today I'm going to try both the methods in different places to show you how that works. This one, on the face, what I'm going to do is to focus on the light area only. Yeah, so I'm just filling in the sections where the light is. And we know the forehead is slightly bigger, keeping in view that we will draw the baby hair later. So just don't worry about that correction yet. So I'm just focusing on the sections where it is light. The nose, half of the nose is getting that light, so I'm just throwing in that. The under the eye, under this eyebrow, this section itself is getting that light. The cheek is just pumping in a lot of light here. In this case, the picture shows that the light is coming from from her left, yeah, from her left side, or our right side, yeah. So I'm just doing that under the lip, the chin area. There is a little on her skin in the neck. There isn't much, and this ear also gets the light here. So I'm just doing that. I think that is it with respect to the light. Yeah. Now I have to work on the section that is not so light in the the rest of the portions. So this is going to be one style. The other style is that I take the lightest part of the color and fill that in just like the way we filled in the previous lessons. So I'm just going to fill in the arms and the fingers. I feel that this hand isn't right. There is some corrections needed here. This hand. So fill it in the sections that are fully showing the skin. All the sections without worrying about light versus dark yet. This is also one more style to work. So we're doing that. So the entire portion is totally light now. Yeah. So now we are working on this thumb and fingers here. Again, corrections needed to this hand as well, I can sense. I have a lot of corrections to work on in this painting, which I will also take care when I'm doing this. So, filling in this skin tonality, the lightest of the skin tonality in all the places. So we could have done this method also here in the face. So I'm just teaching you two different approaches. You could pick up any one that feels comfortable for you. I have seen this approach though in many professional tutorials. I think most of the artists do follow this particular approach, that they essentially mark dark and light very clearly, and that is very helpful. It's just that I found a way to work with this because the blending becomes easier for me when I do it this way. So I just want you to learn the other approaches also. Then you can choose whichever way is comfortable for you. That builds clarity. The first approach builds clarity. The second approach builds helps in blending things easier. So that builds a slight kind of naturality. So that's the thing. Both can be used in different approaches to work towards that end goal. It can be. So we have marked. Now I begin to work on the other color tonality. This one that is slightly lighter in her face is what I'm going to work on. So for that, this is the lightest tone that we used, but when we mix that yellow ochre to it and the yellow to it, we get this color tonality that is kind of close to what you see. It has a little bit of vermilion, so I'm just continuing to mix until I get the right one. 80% there. Not totally satisfied, but it's there. Okay, so I think this is there. Yeah. This is 80% there, so I'm just going to go with this. I'm going to fill this color tonality in the rest of her face. And you see that this isn't totally dark at all in all the places. It has different tonalities there in different spaces. Yeah, you get to see that here. So under the nose, this chin, cheek, also the angle of a cheek that I wanted to fix, that I'm able to fix now. And this ear, rest of the portions wherever we missed. Now I take this lighter tonality again to blend it here, because in some places it doesn't look like it's totally dark as well. So I'm just mixing that again. See, this needs blending later. So going on and working towards that. I'm yet to fix the eye. We'll do that in a short while, but until such time we are still blending these colors, blending these colors in the layer that doesn't look like, it is separate colors there. So I'm working on it and building that color tonality for the neck as well. The neck kind of has we don't have the details, the way the neck is shown here. We don't do it here because we have jewelry, a lot of jewelry that's going to come up here. So I've just adjusted that, and I have kind of lightened up the space where the eyebrow is, because I want to rework on the eyebrow as such. So now I'm blending these color tonalities here so it doesn't look totally off. Right, so that's the cool. So just want to give a slight lightened pitch here to give a shadow. So we have this. I just need light tonality here on the cheek that is showing up. Can you see that, we are playing around with the light and dark and showing that light in the cheek ever so. So there is, tremendous amount of variations in the light and dark tonalities here that we have tried to do. So this is how the face now looks. We have to work on few details before we are done, but because we have this color now, the darker tonality now, let's work on the other way round for this, the skin in the hands. So if you want to take the help of the picture to see how the hands are, take that. So the shadows in the hands are coming on the sides of the hand. So I'm just working on the sides. So it is slightly easier for me right now because the color is already there. So blending becomes much easier for me versus what I have done here on the face. Can you see the difference? This is why I prefer this style of using one color and then blending that in. So it blends in naturally, fastly. We have to just understand that we could go slightly darker with the color because anyways it's going to blend in there, and we can play around with darkening it also later if you feel that it is, it can be further, on the darker side, so it can be done. So that's the way I have done this. I'm only doing the arms and I have not touched the fingers. This hand also has this nice angle, and here it is slightly darker, so I'm just going to add more of this color here to build this kind of angle. And this again here. So we have kind of blended things in. So that's how things are looking, and I'm going to use this darker tonality one more time on the spacing where the fingers are. And you will see very soon why it helps to have this blended as such. Right. So now we have blended these colors there. So you see two different tonalities sitting, but they aren't talking to each other that much because we have some more nuances to work on. And this is when I would say we move to a brush number 0, preferably. One here. And then I take, for the detailing, I need a bit of titanium white, and I would need ivory black, burnt umber to do darker tonalities and extremely lighter tonalities. Let's start with the extreme light, means adding titanium white. Yeah, so let's take that. I take titanium white on the tip of the brush and I'm going to go around. This isn't the total white, isn't it? So I'm just going to add a bit of yellow ochre and make this titanium white go slightly dull. So it's tiny bit, so it doesn't really show up as totally white. This eye isn't totally white at all. So let's work on her eye and the spacing where the eye is, got that lighter section. Yeah, let's do that. So I have filled in that section now. This leaves me to focus on the iris and the pupil, and like I have mentioned in the previous sessions, I add a bit of ivory black to burnt umber, so it isn't on the totally black side or no, neither on the totally brown or umber. I draw burnt umber side. In the middle, I take that tonality to work on the eye. Let's do the iris and the pupil spacing. And do the eyebrow. Sorry, not the eyebrows, the contours of the eye, but let's not work on the eyelashes yet. Let's just do this part. And it is blending a little bit with the color that is there. So that's helping me, adjust this into rather not so dark, but really in there. Yeah. So when you do the under eye, just be careful. It isn't so dark here. And I will use this color tonality to do that, eyelids line, yeah, as well. Very thin lining, and it will blend with that skin color that I have already filled in there. So it's going to help ever so lightly. And then this is the right time to work on the eyebrows. I wanted to hide this one more time because I just wanted to work on the eyebrows fresh. Oh, fantastic. So that's done. So going to do that eyebrows. This time I'm just being, careful about where the eyebrow goes, and the way it is, see the way a child's eyebrow is, it doesn't, it doesn't show a profound, detailed line. It's a bit of a bunch of tiny, tiny hair strands coming together, that bunch of baby hair, to be honest. So I'm not going to go into that level of detail yet, but I am doing it in a way that it works, to show at least that line eventually. Yeah. So that's something I did, and I'm looking at it because this is distracting me a bit, that we have really a broader space of forehead there. So the eye looks okay, and I think the focus can shift right now to the nostrils. So I'm going to work on that nostril holes. In the last attempt, I think I made it slightly bigger, which need not be the case. So I'm just working around now. I need to wipe off my brush to take burnt umber only, because I want it to blend also in some places. So burnt umber only to go ahead with the lining of the nostrils, the nose structure. That way we are slightly darkening the spaces under the nose where there is, darker shades and such. Giving that angle in the eye, giving that shade in that eye, and now it helps to blend in those colors also again. We blend it slightly so it doesn't really look, the way it looks right now is that it is really off. Still it is off. Now when you start blending things, because we have the details there, it becomes slightly easier to focus. And the cheek needs to be adjusted again. I can see we'll work on it when we come to the hair as well. So let's do the lip and come back to the hairline. So doing the lip, I'm going to take purely burnt umber here. I know the lip is really very light pinky, but I want to use the darker tonalities first to work on the lip angles. And when this dries, it becomes easier for us to just reapply the right proportion of colors on top of this to finish the painting. Yeah, because things become easier then, because these dark colors tend to push the lighter colors that are in the upcoming layer to the front really very well, very brightly. Yeah, so they have that tendency, and that is helpful for us. So let's do that underlip. I haven't filled in that teeth white, because whatever I filled in the previous layer seems okay, at least at this moment. The way the lip is structured, I'm just looking at, because it gets slightly, the underlip is slightly broader here, but it isn't there. Yeah. So that's the way she is. The smile is. She's got a beautiful smile. And I want the ivory black only in certain places to just give that darkness here. Inside the lip line. Leaving it like that. The face is starting to come up alive. Going back to burnt umber, because I need to draw some more of this contours, which isn't looking fair yet. Okay, I need skin color here again. the cheek line. Going back and doing the burnt umber contour with the zero brush. So that's the way the angle of the cheek goes and the chin comes up. And I begin to blend that color also when I am doing that with a micro brush, you know. See that the chin has come up, blending in this color on the contours ever so lightly. When the color gets a little too much there, you can add a little more of your, the color that you have mixed in the lighter tonality, yeah, if you need. So that is one, and I'm still facing a challenge with respect to the spacing here of the cheek. It's a, what do you call it? It's a beautiful contour. It's I just want to capture that detail as much as possible in this layer. If not, we can always work towards it in the upcoming layer. So it doesn't mean that, you have to get it right in this right away. Try your best to have proportions aligned and fixed in this layer. And if not, of course, we can work on the details in the upcoming layers also to improvise. So yeah, my target is that if it is 80%, then then I move on. Then the improvising is left for the 20%, and the 20% of improvising is left for the upcoming layers. Yeah. So I'm taking ivory black and burnt umber in another brush. This is brush number 3, round. I'm taking these two colors to do the hair one more time. This time you need to have things clearly defined. Even in this hat, there is like bit of light and dark that I would like to give. I'm not still working on the baby hat though. Yeah, I'm not going to do that though. So I've just done this part. It's kind of helping me understand if I have missed anything. And I want a bit of lighter tonality, so I'm just taking yellow ochre here with the same brush, a tiny bit of it, to give some shades here in the hair, lightening it up. So it's the opposite of what we did here. We used the lightest color and then we started darkening slightly. Here we use the darkest color and then start lightening up in places where there is light showing. So that helps. She's kind of looking okay. I still feel that the cheek needs to be adjusted a bit more. Trying to see if I could play that around with the darker tonality, creating that negative space clearly, and using that to help accentuate the cheek. I think it did help. Yeah, it did help a bit. I need the chin to be redefined here. Done. And I need that color to be blended in here a little bit. Done. I think we're fairly there with the face as such. Yes, the face has this contour line showing so strongly. I try to avoid that strong look. If it is showing a little bit, it is fine. If I could blend that in a little bit, it will help. Then I try to do it. Yes. There are darker zones here in the ear. So let's leave it there. Okay, one more thing on the darker zone I want to add is that there should be, because of the jewelry, there should be a shadow falling on her neck. I'm just creating that shadow space there. And now let us move on to the cheek area. Yes, we have this done nicely. So the cheek area also comes up very well. There is an angle of slight, darkness about this here. I give that. And here as well. I guess this is fine here. Adding a bit of vermilion boldly here to play around with this color here, because there is this, kind of reddish look, pinkish look that is coming up in her face. The light, the shadow is creating kind of magical color in her skin. I just want to capture that here and see if it works. If it doesn't, then yeah, I leave it for the upcoming layer, but looks like it is helping here in this journey. I'm just going to keep that. Yes, and she looks fairly okay here. Blending is missing, so I'm just blending again. So this is what is the challenge when we do in parts. Need to blend again and again. Yes. Okay, so we will make a stop with this color tonality here on the face and move on to the hands. Yeah, the hands have something important to work with. What is that? We haven't done the details of the hands yet, so we are going to go back to the zero brush, and we take burnt umber mixed with black, or just burnt umber will do, to do the contours of the hands. So I go back to the picture of Lakshmi. And now I'm going to draw every single finger very nicely. So we're going to draw actually, yeah. So this time, let's see, we get it a little more. So I'm just drawing the thumb here. And when I draw the contours, I make sure that Any mistakes that I have done is also covered. So in this case, I just had the hand looking really broad and I wanted to fix that. So I'm doing the contours. So whatever is left over, the color, it'll be fixed when I do the layer of the background. Yeah. So we have this darker color here helping us create the contours of the fingers. Slow and steady, nice and easy. Let's do this. Contours. Okay. I also do the contours of the arm. This is where I just want to adjust that line because it looks slightly out of proportion for the body. So I'm just fixing it here, and whatever excess is thrown there, and that I will adjust when I do the background color. So we have the contours here. Let's do the contours of all other hands and then come back to blending them also in. Yeah, so let's do the hands here, the thumb, the finger that is holding the flower, three fingers folded, the palm, and come back to the arm. When you come back to the arm, also in my case I can see mistakes that I want to fix. I'm working on that. And then this one seems to look good now. Yeah. Good. It looks fair enough. The size looks fair enough. Here maybe I would need slightly a bit more. I'm going to blend these colors also in. So let's go for this hand that's holding the pot of gold. And then I have to just push it slightly out so you're able to see a little better here on the hand. So there is this thumb. And then the hand. They need to remember there are 4 fingers that are here. 1, 2, and there is the slight fold in the fingers. They aren't really straight. They are in the giving position. So do not jump off and create straight lines there. When you draw, just remember the folds of that palm. Okay, it looks okay now. Let's go for the last hand here. All right, this one is the one that is blessing us. Again, I'm fixing the errors. So there are really minor errors here, just a millimeter, a micromillimeter off here and there, and I'm adjusting that. Here you see I've got some yellow ochre filled in really broad in the last go. So this time I'm just focusing on having that detail done. Fingers. So even though the hands are looking that they are straight, the fingers are slightly, you see that it's slightly folded like this, kind of blessing. So keep that in mind while you make this. And then the angle of the arm itself, the elbow. Cool. I guess this is kind of done now. So now it is the blending that has to happen. I'm taking the same skin color brush brush number 1 flat to work on that blending. So I'm taking that darker skin color that we used here to blend in that section of burnt umber that I added as contour wherever possible, very lightly. And this will really change color tonality. So just be aware that you need a bit more of your own the old skin colors that you've created to kind of blend things in properly. Yeah, so you're trying to blend at least 80%. Again, everything is like 80%. It's an attempt that you're making, and if you're a first timer, it will blend a little too much. It's fine, do not worry too much about it. Yeah, so it's a learning, and that's also why we are doing layers. The next layer you'll get better. What it couldn't go wrong. What would happen is that the dark will seem really dark and the light will seem really light, and it will still be the portions will be correct, the proportions will be correct, the way you have approached it will be correct, but then it will not look natural though if the blending doesn't come out right. Usually, that's the case when it comes to the layer 3. You will still see that it isn't complete. But as long as we are achieving the target, what's the target of this session? Is that we are able to define dark versus light, So if you're able to define that, good. If you're able to blend it as well, that's even better. If not, fine, let's try that in the next upcoming layer. So that's how I am blending it here, bringing that down here, blending this also ever so lightly here. Cool. It looks fine. This one seems to have blended fairly well. And when it comes to the fingers, remember we used slightly darker tonality. Now we can take the lightest of the tonality that we have mixed to highlight sections that could be reflecting light. It should be like, tips of the folds of the finger. So it's easier to mark those sections. now because it's not a lot. It's a tiny addition of color there. That's gonna help. That's it. And I think we are doing fine with this shading altogether. This hand needs kind of adjustment here. I understood what was missing here. So that is the darker shade there. Done. Okay. So let's look at the overall work that we have done for today. So today's session was about light versus dark layer 3, and we began with this layer 3 with the face and hands of the little girl. We have tried to give a balance of light versus dark, and also we have started a little bit on the detailing as well. So we have also done that, and there is some light and dark, and you can see the shades, but they aren't really blending well yet, which will happen as we grow with this picture. It is work in progress. If you can, and there are two things you can do. One is that you can keep on practicing on this, but after a time, because the canvas has got too much of oil, it doesn't really push after a while. So try a little bit to get things right, and if you don't, leave it. Let it dry and let it sit, and then try again if you want. And this session is always a helpful session. Layer 3 is always a helpful session because we aren't targeting perfection yet. We are in the progress, but we are practicing also our eye to understand where is dark and where is light, and get our hands to reflect our understanding from the eye, what we have observed. So just do this, and once you are done, let it rest, and we will work on the same logic of dark versus light in the rest of the painting in the next class. So the next class is going to be focusing on the costume and jewelry and the lotus, all these pots of gold and stuff around. So all that, and also the background ultimately. So that's exactly what we are going to do in the upcoming class. Until we meet in the next class, stay happy, stay healthy, stay blessed, stay motivated, and let's meet up. Bye bye.